everyone, welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, please subscribe. I'd really love that. If you're returning, how you doing? Well, today what we're going to talk about is Hurricane Ian and the aftermath and what really happened. And I had talked about how Hurricane Ian destroyed a fertilizer production company, okay? And they took out the fertilizer production company was for like all of like North America, okay? The power grid went down, widespread supply chain damage, okay? That's what we're going to be talking about today. And you know, the devastation of Hurricane Ian has implications far beyond just Florida itself, okay? One of the largest fertilizer companies in the world, which is called Mosaic, okay, it's Mosaic, is located right in the devastation path of Ian, all right? And Ian, it lingered for about 12 hours in Central Florida, which is where I am, okay? And it dropped literally feet of rain, not just inches, feet of rain, and in some areas causing widespread flooding. I'm sure you've seen some of the coverage on YouTube, on the news, okay? And infrastructure damage. And it's going to take years to rebuild. It really is. And that combined with sustained hurricanes, force winds, we were almost at a category 5. We were 2 miles per hour below a category 5 hurricane. Okay. And they ripped, you know, communities apart, literally ripped them to shreds, literally. All right. And they were left with literally almost no structure standing in some areas. Okay. Now, this Mosaic company in Central Florida provides 50% of the granulated phosphate fertilizer used by North American farmers. And the company also provides 12% of the global supply for granulated phosphate fertilizer. And this means that Hurricane Ian just made the global fertilizer shortage a lot worse than it was already. Even after the fertilizer shortages caused by the natural gas shutdowns in Europe, okay, and the recent sabotage that I talked about with the Nord Stream, okay. Now, the upshot of all of this, expect even more food scarcity and price inflation in 2023 and beyond that, all right? With high prices and crop scarcity to persist for many years to come. Now, I hope that Mosaic, which employs 3,000 full-time workers and 3,000 additional contractors, I hope they can get back on their feet as soon as possible and resume deliveries of phosphate fertilizer. But I don't know how long it's going to take them. I have heard that the U.S. Coast Guard is right now stockpiling body bags far beyond the numbers being shown on the news. And it's because of the flooding and the injuries. Proof of life teams are searching homes right now, retirement community buildings, and other structures for evidence of whether individuals are dead or alive, so that family members, employers, etc. can be notified. It's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. Now, With the power grid and the cell towers not working for a large portion of the state of Florida, satellite devices are the only way of reliable communication, okay? There's 1,000 satellite phones inbound by the end of October, and there's something about pre-orders for the phones or something like that, which will sell out immediately, obviously. And some areas of Florida look like literally like a bomb went off, because that's the amount of devastation that there is. Total devastation. Barely anything left standing. Storm surges exceeded 20 feet in height in some areas. High winds. The winds were about 185 miles an hour. Roofs, structures were turned into projectile missiles, shrapnel. It shredded everything in sight. The rebuilding of Florida will be extremely difficult given the fragile state of the supply chain for construction materials, including electrical supplies, plumbing supplies, roofing material, lumber, tools, generators, and the list goes on. Almost regardless of how much money is thrown into this situation, okay, it doesn't matter. It's the lack of availability of supplies and the lack of labor, honestly. And it means that Florida will require not just months, but years. Years to return to what it once was. And insurance companies are going to squabble over payouts because they're not going to want to pay out. And that's what stinks right now. That's what stinks, because it's resulting in extremely frustrating delays in reimbursement for damage, causing some people to decide to move, rebuild in other states. But there is good news. The good news is that Floridians are resilient. We're determined people. And we are led by an amazing governor, Governor DeSantis, who is showing tremendous leadership in deploying state resources to help save lives and get people back on their feet. And it's the people of Florida who really deserve the credit for being so resilient and capable, as we have suffered tremendous destruction because of this natural disaster. Hurricane Ian should be a reminder to all of us that devastating events can strike at any moment with very little warning. And they can escalate far beyond our expectation in terms of damage, disruption, and death. We as Floridians, we need your prayers. We need assistance. And I hope that everyone looks upon this event as a reminder that the time for all of us to get prepared is now. Food scarcity is a certainty for 2023 and for years beyond that. Fuel prices are on the rise. And the world fertilizer problem, the supply problem, is now on the brink of collapse. And agriculture production has plummeted globally. Geoengineering, or weather weapons, or whatever you want to refer to it as, has unleashed droughts, floods, and possibly even hurricanes, devastating the food supply, thrusting the western half of the United States into a severe water shortage. And then when someone, I'm not even going to say who I think it was, or who I know it was, I should say that, goes and messes with the Nord Stream 1 and 2. Just to punish we the people just a little bit more. Or technically the people of Europe. But a financial storm is already underway as the stock market literally unravels and the fake fiat currency systems of the world teeter on the verge of collapse. And finally, the insane, deranged leaders of the illegitimate regime are trying to push the world into a nuclear Armageddon, just so they don't have to go through with the midterms and lose control of the House and possibly also the Senate. You know, Hurricane Ian was so flippin' devastating. And yet it was just a small taste of bigger storms that are yet to come. Just my only advice, prepare accordingly. That's it. All right, guys, I'm out of here. I love you. I'll see you in the next one, okay? You stay safe, you stay positive, you keep prepping, and as always, fear less. Ciao.